Hello and welcome to the third podcast of Driving Home. Shall we just delve straight into it?
Is this the actual third one, or is this the sixth one, but we've only officially the third?
I mentioned it in the last one. I was screwed up on the previous two due to audio malfunctions.
Yep.
And it had been really good because on one of them, we were literally caught a fairly big motorway accident halfway through the podcast.
I'm going to try and describe that so people could make a visual decide what it was like.
So it's a learning curve for us all, shall we say. But yes, I think it's... I think doing a podcast whilst driving on a motorway is too ambitious.
It is. Yeah, skydiving's the next one then.
It'd be basically like listening to this podcast, but with this.
And there's someone going, when's that fan going to stop?
Why is he in the middle lane? But yes, on this particular podcast, we want to talk about the fact that we're getting a little fed up. We'll say what you just said off
well,
mic. We're getting sick of driving.
Getting sick of driving 50 grand cars. Yeah.
Quite sounds very bizarre.
Yeah,
it does. I mean,
pampered princess is here.
Yeah, it's a case of they've been out long enough now. We don't need any. What I think is they're looking at Tesla.
Everybody's using Tesla as a benchmark. And
look at the Model Y.
Yeah. Let's do one of them.
Beat that.
Let's make it a bit better.
I feel like the CEO's talking to his engineers of car manufacturer A, give it a bigger range or same range as Model Y, but more space. Make it better.
They've got the spec list, haven't they? The numbers, the top chumps.
Yes.
And they're going, just make it so it's a little bit more in every single one of them.
Like Samsung.
Yeah.
With an iPhone.
Yeah, and just make it in around the same price.
Yeah. But I think that
I think what they're doing is they're forgetting, aren't they, that not a lot of people can afford those cars. I think they're keeping their eye off the ball. They need to be putting more money. Do we think into?
Well, some people argue, well, they're gonna. It's a low volume product, so high.
But is that where we're going wrong though?
Well, I think so. Yeah, because you think, well, we're not going to sell a ton of these, so let's make a few of them at a higher price.
I'll make it fancy.
But there's a huge group called the Stellantis Group. Used to be the PSA Group, which is what Peugeot, Citroen, DS, Fiat, Jeep, and a couple of others. Basically, they are all doing what we would consider the right way around.
Yeah, the sensible way.
Yeah, they've got the 208. Oh, you want that electric, sir, or petrol?
Yeah.
Same with the Vauxhall Corsa.
Yeah, it's the same throughout the entire...
So there's clearly an economic argument there, which for me then gets rid of the other stuff. So if we look at the stuff that's coming out like this year and over the next year, you've got things like Ford. Well, Ford used to be, you've just passed your test, let's go and get you a Ford, because they're cheap, nice
cheerful, and they don't break down as much as some other cars.
There's lots of them.
Yeah.
But big bulk buy.
But wasn't Fiesta the most popular car for several years?
For many years. And it may still be. Yeah. But their only full electric vehicle starts at £40,000.
Wow.
Then you've got Kia and Hyundai, which still have the cheaper offerings with the Ioniq and the cheaper e-Neros and things like that. But I don't see the development for them anymore because they're bringing out, Hyundai Ioniq branding.
Yeah, it's going down the Cupra route.
Well, yeah, and then of course Kia seem to be trying to elevate themselves with the Stinger.
Kia seem to be suddenly thinking of the BMW, don't they?
Well, they brought the Stinger out, which I think was is it an M3 rival? Or is that a bit too much?
Ooh, I think it's probably it's not an M rival, is it? Is it a 335? 335.
But almost budget M3.
Yeah.
So effectively, they're trying to elevate themselves.
They are, yeah.
Which is fine, not wrong with that. But the EV6, again, it's this 40 grand sort of bracket, which just happens to be the price of a Model 3. And what else have we got coming out?
Why try? I mean, the trouble for me is that Tesla is such a great car, and all these people want to compete with it. But why not? I mean, for me, I'd be going, all right. So it's quite a difficult fight, is this Tesla thing. So we can put something to fight, but why don't we put something a bit lower down as well? Because there's not as...
Like the Stellantis Group clearly have thought, well, let's...
They're mopping up here. Well, and MG.
Well, yeah, although they have the Chinese advantage, I guess. But when I went to France with the 2008 launch, they had all, the head honcho there talking, and he said, we decided... Same production line, same factories.
And why not?
Petrol, if we sell more electric than petrol, we just turn one down and turn the other up.
Yeah.
There's they'll never have a shortage.
Yeah, well, that makes perfect sense.
And it's the same chassis, it's the same.
It's almost like we've got some German engineer there. We've gone, I've got the perfect way of setting this factory up.
Well, I guess it makes sense because the bulk argument then is, well, 80% of these cars are the same as the petrol version.
Yeah.
It's just the drivetrain and a bit of the...
Yeah.
So the interiors are the same,
It's
the doors are
modular,
the
in it. It's
same.
going to be all the same, like I said, apart from the batteries and the electric motor.
And I think that's what we're getting slightly miffed at, I guess the word is. We are and we aren't, because we like nice cars, but it's like every car's nice in terms of it's not a halo model, but it's priced high.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
You know, why is everything coming out with a 70, 80 kilowatt hour battery?
Well, it's because everything's just so heavy.
Well, yeah.
So what you do is that you throw more weight at it to make it go further.
Well, the XC40 we've just had.
Fantastic car.
That starts at 24-ish grand list price in the XC40 range. The XC40 full electric that we had for a week, brilliant car, I have to say.
Yeah.
Review's probably already out now.
If not, it'll be out soon.
Yes, if not.
Become a member, get it early.
But it's 50 grand.
That's just...
Starting.
Yeah, starting.
And that is not just because it's the electric version. I mean...
it had everything, didn't it?
It's over-specced.
Yeah, completely.
Do you want an XC40, sir? Because you have a practical family life?
Oh, yes.
Would you like it to do 4.7 seconds to 60?
Not in school run.
All-wheel drive?
Not really in school run.
No, you don't want that? Oh, you want a 200-odd mile range out of our 78 kilowatt-hour battery?
Well, see, I could just pay half the price and get a petrol one.
And that's the thing, isn't it? We're not saying it's not worth 50, given the battery size and the performance.
No.
It's a Polestar 2 underneath.
Yeah.
But why is the XC40 double the price? I feel like somebody's bought a house in an estate that's got a ceiling price, and then they've put marble kitchens in. They've put, basically they've made it the nicest house possible, and then they're trying to sell it above the ceiling price of the area.
You just can't, can you?
No,
it's not worth that.
So although economically it's worth 50 grand because it is just a Polestar. It's the other way around. But it's a high spec battery car. Why not start with the lower battery version, which they're doing? Front wheel drive, smaller battery, probably at least 10 to 15 grand cheaper.
I think it needs to come out as a package, doesn't it? It just seems rather strange them making this halo model and then further down the line them introducing a lower powered version, especially with the XC40, which for me, I don't know about you, when we were driving it around, I was like, this is a perfect family car. It's big, it's comfortable, got a big boot. You can imagine going to the seaside in it.
But not many families would be able to afford a 50 grand car. And those that can wouldn't buy a Volvo XC40 because you can see a £25,000 XC40 driving around.
Exactly. And I think the thing is that, exactly. It's nail on the head there.
It's that thing, is it? It's like taking a Ford Fiesta
and having the electric version double the price.
Yes, which is what the Yaris GR.
Yeah.
Phenomenal machine.
Oh, yeah.
That's at 30 grand.
So that's
a lot cheaper than it should be, isn't it?
So I can get that and borrow £5,000 and get an XC40.
Yeah. But that's what I think. They've priced that at 30 grand, I think, because no one would pay 40 grand for the Yaris.
No.
How good it is.
Well, I've heard, I don't know how much this is true, but I've heard they lose money on each one.
Yeah, because...
It's a technical masterpiece.
It'd be ludicrous to have a £40,000 Yaris, even though it's not a Yaris underneath.
Yeah,
it's a completely different thing. People will still see a Yaris and go, I ain't paying £50,000 for a van. Even though it might have been worth every penny, given the engineering, it's still got a Yaris badge.
Yeah, ceiling price.
And this is what we're kind of getting a little bit confused, I suppose. But, we're not getting fed up because it's nice to drive around in long range. It's like 200 miles is... Oh, no, you can't bring anything new out with that 200 miles.
It's got to be 200 miles, yeah.
It has to be over 200 miles, and we have to compete against this. It's fair game to bring a 40, 50 grand EV out because, that's how much they are.
Yeah, that's how much they are, yeah. Everyone's getting used to the fact that EVs are expensive, so let's just make them a little bit more expensive.
And let's flood it with technology.
Yeah.
What's one of our favourite electric vehicles? Let
me say,
it also happens to be the cheapest.
Well, they don't even make it anymore.
Well, not that particular version.
I was just going to say, one of my favourite electric... one of my favourite cars. I'm not going to say favourite electric. One of the favourite cars I've driven was the Skoda Citigo. And that was so much fun, like driving a little old school Mini.
Yeah.
It wasn't the fastest thing, but you could...
No.
If you wanted to, then I'm sure that there's people out there, you could floor it everywhere, but not go really fast, but have a real good time in it. And we reviewed that, and then, was it a month later or so? Stopped making it.
Yeah, you can still get the Volkswagen up.
You can, yeah. See at me.
So they've become now our favourite small EV.
Well, Skoda though, the budget brand, arguably, of the VAG range.
For me, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
not being able to make the cheapest electric car of their VAG range.
Well, that's it. They've got rid of that, and now they've brought out the Enyaq, which starts at 32-ish,
which is,
and everything's optional extra. And I'm not saying again, it's
vanilla ice cream.
Worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth 32.5 given the size of it and the battery size.
Yeah.
But why have they not got one at the normal price, like the Corsa? There's no Fiesta-sized car outside the Stellantis group that's an EV.
Apart from the Mini.
But that's a premium.
Well, a premium, yeah, and it's the same with the Honda, I guess, as well, isn't it? And also, they've got the battery range on them isn't as great, is it?
Yeah, so do you know what?
I like
what
they're good second cars, aren't they?
Yeah, I like what they've done because they've produced a Mini or the Honda E based on what they want the car to do. And thought, right, well, that's all the batteries we can give it at the current technology, because if we give a Mini any more batteries, it's going to be too heavy. It won't be a Mini.
Yeah. And I respect them for doing that. And a lot of people have slated them.
Yeah.
And that, for me, I'm going, no, that's a fantastic idea. It's an engineering exercise. Brilliant.
And I would
that's
say
all
most
you need.
Minis that are sold probably second cars.
I would have
in the
thought
household.
so. Yeah.
New Minis.
Yeah.
Forget the used market. And so 100-mile range is irrelevant when you've got two cars.
Yeah.
So I can appreciate that, but why? It's this 208 sort of sector.
Yeah.
You know, the Fiestas, we've got the Corsa, obviously, because that's part of the Stellantis.
Yeah. But there isn't any,
there's nothing.
apart from that group, there's nothing, is there?
And now we're getting all these, look at this new car coming out.
Oh.
The Mercedes EQA. It's a Mercedes. I don't care. Yeah. It's an expensive premium car.
It's an expensive premium car, yeah. They're not cheap, are they, by any means?
And then we've got the Kia, which starts at 40-odd grand.
And it's massive. It's not a small car, is it? It's not.
It's almost like... Do you think it's just the development cost of producing such a small car and getting the batteries in? And then they're going, actually, no, we'll just make a big one. It's nice and easy. We can whack them under the seats.
Possibly. I mean, they're looking at it and going, well, if we build a small car, it's only going to have, I don't know, 120-mile range. And who's going to buy that? Everyone wants 200 miles. There's a focus group somewhere with people who know nothing about electric cars sat around the table making decisions.
I won't buy a 120-mile car. And I bet BMW sales figures for the Mini are pretty good.
Well, do you know, I
see 110.
I see enough of them.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot.
I'm going, that's the electric one.
No, I don't think... there must be a market, because the Stellantis group is a big group.
Well, unopposed at the moment.
Well, that's the thing. If I wanted to get...
They're just laughing, aren't they?
Yeah, if I wanted to get... If you well, any of them that you can think, me or you or any of your friends, you think, right, we've got a car, we've got the family car, and we want to get a second car now, and it just happens, it has to be electric for whatever reason. It's going to be one of the Stellantis.
Yeah, go on, have a look at what's in your price range and try them all.
Or maybe the Up equivalent, because that's about the only alternative.
Yeah.
It's the little hatchback, which this country runs on.
Yeah, traditionally.
We've got, 2 or 3, all from one place.
Yeah.
And everyone else, nah.
Everyone's going to... We're not interested. Maybe we're looking at this wrong. We're a small island, aren't we?
Yeah, it's not for us.
No. Is this all looking at what's going to be selling in America, maybe in Asia, and we're just getting the byproduct of this? I mean, if you got to think that China's a massive market now. Maybe that Volvo was more of a Chinese tint on it.
But then in China, they could probably produce something that can do everything that can for half the price, given what China's electric vehicles are churning out. I mean, I
the
think
big cars are popular in China, aren't they? With the rear leg room.
It's naive for us to think it's built
They're
for
making
the
it
English
for
market.
Yeah.
Which it isn't, is it? Because we're tiny even compared to
But saying that
most
though,
others.
when we went down to see Porsche, they were saying that if we bought second biggest
after
behind America.
Yep, of the Taycan.
Yeah.
Bigger than Germany.
Yeah, which they were surprised at. And you do see a lot of them.
Well, again, it's kind of on its own. The GT, the Audi's
really
just joined it. It's
the same car.
But again, it's kind of on its own. And you get the feeling that there's a lot of call for stuff. Ford Fiesta in electric form.
Why haven't they done
that
this?
Must be a massive sell. And it is definitely not within...
You'd never get to test drive it, though.
No, I won't. No, it's like I've not heard anything from Ford recently. No. I don't know why.
Well, look, I think I don't know about the world, but I think the UK certainly is crying out for a small hatchback, a run around,
or more now.
Yeah, something that's around 25 grand, if not quite
like your 208s and your Corsas.
Yeah.
And again, if they're producing it, there's no reason why someone like Ford can't, because it's been years now.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, at that price as well, it's attainable for somebody as a, you know,
On the monthlies.
Well, you've had your first vehicle, you've passed your test, you've had that your first car for 2 or 3 years, and then you're looking at getting something on PCP or PCH.
Maybe lease.
At least, yeah. And you're looking at going, well, actually, 25 grand I've worked out the month was on this, so I can afford that.
And as I found out in that video, the lease price for a 208 electric is cheaper than the petrol version.
Yeah. It's a win-win situation, yeah.
The Renault Zoe, been around for ages. Brilliant little EV, given the price that you can get them for. You know, it's getting dated now, and it's got a couple of years left in it. And the replacement for it is the Renault 5,
which looks amazing,
fantastic, and apparently will start at 18.5 grand.
Wow.
You know, they're obviously going to do a smaller battery version.
Yeah.
But it's effective. That's what a Renault. But when I first saw it, because it looks amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're gonna
40 grand.
Yeah, they're gonna make it a retro premium.
Yeah.
They're gonna go after Honda Mini.
Yeah.
And it's possible they might still do that, but I'm like, please don't. Just produce what the Renault 5 used to be, what the Renault Zoe was, and it's replacing
what
that.
Renault as a brand typically do.
It's like all brands are trying to do what Skoda effectively have been doing for the last 5 or 10 years. Skoda for me are just a blurred line from Volkswagen. Oh
yeah. But it's become almost another. I don't want to say premium, but I can't think of a better word. German brand, hasn't it? It's like you put a Volkswagen badge on there, and you wouldn't even know.
Well, it used to be that, didn't it? It's like Audi at the top.
Yeah.
This is what a Skoda person, when I bought the Octavia back in 2008, granted, said, "Oh, you got Audi, then Volkswagen, then Skoda, then Seat in that order." And now Skoda for me are just look at the Octavia VRS.
Well, yeah.
Compared to the Golf. I mean, the interiors of the Volkswagens have probably meant
Yeah. They've got worse. The Skoda now, and you're going, this didn't used to. Volkswagen used to be a lot better.
Yeah. So it's almost like Skoda have gone, well, we've done so well with the not the budget market, but we've done so well with the budget market. Let's now
concentrate on the upper.
Let's try and make ourselves a bit, like Kia are doing.
Yeah.
Let's try and raise our profile to be known another premium mark,
which is just what we don't need. I don't think at the moment. We need more.
Especially not with Cupra turning up in Volkswagen Group. That's another premium bloody mark.
No, that's a trim level. What they've gone back to the days of the Mark IV Golf, when the Golf GTI was effectively just a trim level.
Trim level, yeah.
Yeah, it was the same.
It.
Yeah. And then the Mark V came out, and that was
put it back.
It did, yeah.
Or was that just all the ploy, like New Coke?
Yeah.
Let's produce a really bad Volkswagen Golf GTI.
Yeah.
And sell the new one.
When they said they were going to stop selling the Whisper. It's back.
New Slurm.
Yeah.
But no.
Exactly.
Why out? Well, maybe it's just the economic argument of it.
Maybe there's not enough batteries to go around, so why not just put them into some chance?
Again, the argument of me saying, in my head, it's an economic thing. We need
somebody who makes cars to come and answer this for us. There must be something that's really obvious, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, it's because of the cost of a battery and blah blah blah." And we go, "Oh yeah, you're gonna have to wait another couple of years really before you do that."
But then when I sat there in France with the CEO of the group, I think it was not just the Peugeot, it might be in the Peugeot head. Anyway, no, we're gonna we see this is the best way of doing electric vehicles alongside petrol and diesel, not as a completely separate thing in a different factory on a different production line. They've managed it.
At this moment, I agree with him.
Yes.
It's a bizarre thing, isn't it? Maybe it's getting Peugeot's just looking more and more like the car of the future.
Well, you've got petrol or diesel or electric.
Yeah.
With other manufacturers, you've got petrol or diesel. If you want electric, it's a completely different car.
Range, yeah. Which I can understand the point in doing that, if you go the ID3.
Safe bet? Is that why some manufacturers don't? It's a safe bet.
But I think it is, yeah, because I think what a lot of people like is the fact that it looks like the other cars. If you get the electric version of them, it looks like the same petrol and diesel car. But I can see why you go for an ID3 because it's got a larger interior space and it should have.
Well, they have class. And they were told to spend a lot of money on it with the big fine.
Why were they told to do this?
People say Volkswagen are doing brilliantly, and I'm not saying they're not, but their EV was kickstarted by that massive Dieselgate fine. So let's not be under any illusion here of why they're doing what they're doing.
I wonder what had happened if that hadn't have come across.
They'd have probably been doing what Ford was doing and gone, oops, we're a bit behind this.
Yeah.
I mean, they had the e-Golf.
Let's plant some trees.
Yeah. They had the e-Golf, which...
Fantastic car. I know someone's got
really
one.
Good, yeah. It's a Golf, but it's electric.
Yeah, which is probably what you'd want.
I think the ID3 is... well, the ID range, should I say. I like what they're doing with that, but does that mean they're going to get rid of the Golf eventually?
I can.
Well, 10 years from now, it's going to be a Golf.
I wouldn't have thought so.
So why have the ID range if you're going to have an electric Golf? In the
I would have. To be fair, I think they'll get. I mean, I may be completely wrong, but I think they'll be getting rid of the Polo, the Golf. I mean, the Passat's a very low production model now, I should imagine. I can't remember the last.
Who buys a Passat now that's not a company car driver?
Well, why would you buy a Passat when you could go for a Skoda or something, or get something that's completely electric altogether?
Well, everyone's gone for SUVs.
Yeah.
Sorry, crossovers. Not quite sure what it is. Basically, let's make something that don't fit anything, and then we don't have to give it a genre.
Yeah. Is it everyone's gone too PC? Don't call it a hatchback. What do we call it? I don't know.
Don't pigeonhole my car.
Yeah. How dare you?
I haven't really come across a bad EV yet, but they are all high-end stuff, are they? In terms of price, I mean, compared to what they will eventually bring out.
Yeah.
So I think Stellantis Group took the gamble and it's worked, and all the other ones have gone, let's play it safe and do the low volume, high price.
Well, just going back to then what you just said, do you think in the future that, because it's going to happen at some point, I guess, that electric cars are the same price as diesel and petrol cars, but do you think that rather than electric cars coming down in price, petrol and diesel cars, as we're seeing now, are going up? So they won't...
Sorry, happening.
There won't be that electric car coming down thing. It'll just be the other cars meeting them. So it won't be any cheaper. It'll just be that if you want a petrol or diesel car, that's going to cost more because we're not producing as many as them anymore.
There's going to be a tipping point, I think. But there does seem to be that, don't there? I mean, people look at electric vehicle pricing and go, wow, they're expensive.
Yeah.
But then you look at petrol car prices and go, oh my God, the cheapest Fiesta's $15,500. Ish.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a joke, is it? My mum and dad have got a high-spec titanium diesel 2011, and they bought it brand new 10 years old.
Yeah.
$11,500 they paid for that. That's not list, of course, but $11,500 for effectively a top-spec diesel Fiesta at the time. And now the cheapest Fiesta with the basic engine starts at $15,500. That's not just inflation.
Which is what I got my 2014 Fiesta ST2 for.
Yeah, a brand new ST2.
Yeah, brand new from a dealer, 30 mile on the clock. Yeah, for the starting price of the cheapest Fiesta.
So how much is an ST now?
Oh, I think they're around 21 to 25.
So basically, even shopping around, you're going to have to be paying over 20.
I would have thought so,
for a Fiesta.
Yeah.
ST. And this is the thing, isn't it? People look at EVs and think they're expensive. I think just all cars have gone up a lot. Whether it's Brexit or production, whatever the cause is. So I do think they
cars
will
never get cheaper, do they?
No, but they seem to be more. They seem to have gone up way quicker than they ever have done in the past. Like, bigger than inflation.
Yeah. Well, now you look at the cars that we were buying 10 years ago, new, and you can't buy a car, or you're struggling to buy a car now for that price.
Or is it the European manufacturers and the Japanese? The traditional manufacturers are all going, there's no way we can compete with the Chinese, like the MG brand. So let's all pitch ourselves at a slightly more premium level, like Skoda have done, like Kia are clearly trying to do as well.
They're all doing that, aren't they? I suppose if you look at the Ford of now versus the Ford of 10 years ago, and it's just internal quality and trim quality, they're vastly different, aren't they? And also the Fiesta now, if you sit in it, it feels more like a Focus inside, you know, the size of the vehicle.
And you've got that Vignale.
I don't know.
Vignale.
I've never met him.
The Ford Vignale. The Vignales are basically, as far as I could tell, it's the posh version of Ford. The same car, it's just with a badge on the back.
Yeah. What happened to Gear?
Yeah, bring back Gear, damn it! But why did they do that all those years? You know, not that many years ago. Well, to elevate Ford, presumably, because it's not a sub-brand. It's still a.
Did someone just think, I know, I'm going to buy a BMW 3 Series, but what's this Focus here with a badge on the back?
Yeah, it's still a Focus. It's the same car.
Yep.
It's not like Infiniti to Nissan or Lexus to Toyota.
It's a completely
different cars.
Yeah.
And I think there's too much of that one-upmanship now, isn't there? It was always a case of, I know when I was growing up, we always had, my dad always had a company car. He did like 50,000 miles a year, and it was either an Astra or an Escort.
And when you got the Escort, you're like, yes!
Always went for an Escort.
Yeah.
And now they're all just out of reach of that sort of average worker for the most. I mean, new cars now.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because everyone's buying it on finance, so the list price is almost meaningless.
Well, I think there is a bit of that, isn't there? Most people never actually own a car, do they? They just rent a part of its life.
Volvo are really pushing their subscription model, and they're not the only one as well, where you could get an XC40 for, was it 620 odd quid starting? And that, I don't think that was with any deposit.
Which, I mean, it sounds a lot, but it's not too bad when you think there's no deposit. And I mean,
for a £50,000 car, no. And I think after you could give it
like
back
a second
month.
Mortgage.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I think that, well, like your mobile phone, you get a mobile phone with a 2 year or 3 year.
You throw it back and then get another one.
Yeah, and that is, I think, what they're trying to do with cars. And it's happening, isn't it? BMW, I think, are looking at subscription, or they are.
Are they doing it with their second-hand cars? Where
they were looking at the idea of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that idea. Pay a certain amount to manufacture,
yeah.
And every 3 months, because I think with the Volvo, you could change that car every 3 months.
I wouldn't have figured what all buttons done by then.
No. But I quite like the fact that I could subscribe and get that and go, you know what, in a couple of months, I'm going to swap it for that.
Yeah.
You almost like a car sharing service. Like a mobile phone. People now buy a contract, not a phone.
Oh, yeah. Do you think this is based more around the younger generation? I call them the throwaway generation, where they have something for a short amount of time and then, throw it away, like the phones. They don't own anything.
And they rent.
They don't particularly want to own anything. They'd rather just lease it, rent it, have done with it, throw it away.
I mean, I've tried to speak to a few people that are at that sort of start of their career, as it were.
Did you start by going, yo, yo, yo?
Oh, yeah, I'm a cool guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to try and talk to you and persuade you to save up for a mortgage or a house. Nah, I'm not even bothered. I know a few people who don't want to do any driving lessons because they know, I can't afford a car or the insurance for a car, so what's the point? Whoa.
You live in Bradford, you don't need insurance.
I couldn't wait. The week I turned 17, I did my first lesson. I was desperate to get into a car and learn how to drive. And even if you can't afford to get a car,
it's an aspiration of wanting to do it. Well, when I can afford to do it, I'll save to do it. I'm going to do this.
Oh, no, I'm not going to bother. I know a couple of people that are saying that right now. There's no point because I can't afford
Do you live in London?
Essex.
See, Essex, you should be. I mean, I thought that was part of living in Essex. At 17, you had to do your driving test.
40. But it just seems bizarre to me because for me, it's something that everyone should know. It's a skill that some jobs require. Our job requires it. Yeah, if you can't drive, you're going to do our job. You can't drive. I'm afraid we can't employ you because you need to get to places. So why wouldn't you do that? It's like, oh no, I'd rather spend the money I have on going out or phones or Xboxes. And cars have become boring to the younger generation, which is scary to me.
Yeah, it's a bizarre thing, isn't it? I mean, I know in Japan they had a huge problem with young people not wanting to drive. And that was mainly because there was no aspirational cars to drive. They didn't want to drive. Is it the K series car, whatever they are?
Yeah. Things.
Yeah. So they're trying to get more people interested in cars and picking up on driving again. I wonder what it must. I mean, I guess in this country,
expensive, isn't it?
It is the cost of. I mean, we know, believe it or not, we know a couple of young people who do drive, and you're talking. I mean, one of the lads at work was he paying nearly $3,000?
2,600, I think, when he started with us, and that was with a black box, and that was the cheapest. We literally didn't we over about a week went through every single car to find the cheapest one to insure.
Yeah. It was hilarious, wasn't it? And
tried all the tricks.
Yeah,
different job, sort of title for the same thing.
Just anything to see if he could bring his insurance down.
Over $2,500.
Yeah.
For 1 year with a black box.
I mean, his car didn't cost much more than that, did it?
No. And I think that is, again, maybe, because we've gone a little off kilter here, but effectively it circles back to this. A car is not going to be something that people own and look after. That's why I don't ever want a lease car unless it's a pure daily drive.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to wash it in the same way. I'm not going to look after it. It won't feel like mine. I feel like I'm just staying in a hotel room for a bit, you know.
Do you think there needs to be something along the lines of, I mean, when I was growing up, you could get, was it a Citroen Saxo VTR, and it came with a year's insurance?
It's free insurance, which nearly bankrupt them.
Yeah. Well, skipping over the nearly bankrupting bit. But do you think there needs to be an electric car like the Volkswagen Up?
Aim it at young people.
That has a year's worth of insurance to get you on board. And because it is electric, maybe it's a safer vehicle, they can some way that they can make it cheaper to own.
Well, yeah, that's not a bad idea. But, yeah.
There's no... I mean, I don't know of any manufacturer at the moment who's incentivising buying the car for young people.
Well, they're just not...
Not on the radar. Young people aren't on the radar, are they? You know, going 20 years ago, you know, everyone wanted a Citroen 6-0, a Citroen Saxo VTR. Everybody wanted one of them, and they were rubbish. And probably good fun to drive, but they were a bit chabby, weren't they? But you got a year's free insurance. Well, I think Renault Clio, a housemate of mine years ago, he had the 1.2, probably. And that came with year's free insurance with Renault. And these are people who are, you know, young 20s.
Well, yeah, maybe that's the thing. I always like to get cars that have an emotional attachment.
Yeah.
Unless it's a pure daily or something like that. But then you'd have to have another car with the I don't think, unless, I mean, we've all done it, haven't we? Needs must. You buy the car you can. But even when I got my very first car, which was a 1 litre Metro that was given to me by my parents because they were getting nothing in Part X.
You took it down to Halfords and you blinged it.
No. I got lots of cleaning stuff.
Turtle wax.
It was gleaming.
Nothing but the finest.
Oh, I think it was back then because that was long before we knew how to do it.
Well, basically, there wasn't much available, was there? No. It was turtle wax or nothing.
But I had that spotless, cleaned the interior. I got a stereo that was more expensive than the car, of course, because you have to do that.
Filled the boot full of speakers.
Yeah, but I didn't care because it was mine.
Yeah.
That's my car and it can get me to Blackpool if I want.
Yeah.
And now I just don't see that.
No.
I don't see that. I don't know. Is it because you have to save up for age? Like a house, you have to save up for too long. You have to save up for insurance. I can't be bothered.
I think if you...
we're going all old men on the new generation now, aren't we?
Possibly. I mean, I guess if you're living in a city, there's not maybe the...
Yeah, if I lived in London, I wouldn't get a car.
No, I'd sell my car.
I know two people that don't live in London, but around it, you know.
Yeah.
Don't have a driving license. I've spoke to a couple of people we work with, they have kids, and now then they're not interested in doing driving lessons.
Wow. And
I'm thinking, well, why? Especially up here.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Arguably, you need one to get around.
Yeah, I'm just going to get the bus. Remember, it's Sunday, there are none.
Yeah. It's too expensive for insurance. Yeah, but it won't be if you get your licence and then wait a year or two.
Yeah.
Because you've had a licence for 2 years, it'll be a lot cheaper. It's like I want it now. And that goes, we'll go full circle almost back to the fact that maybe they look at cars and go, well, new cars come out, it's 40 grand.
Yeah, can't afford that.
I'm not even going to be close to that. So I won't bother.
Well, yeah. So what we're saying is, what we're coming back to at the very start, is we need cheaper,
more ups,
fun cars.
More city goes.
Yeah. Hey, they don't even have to be fun. Just cheaper would be
well,
a lot of the cars we drive aren't fun.
No, case in point, the Dacia Sandero.
Yeah.
It's not particularly very good in any way, but it's so cheap. I think it's brilliant.
I think it's a brilliant car. Yeah.
Brilliant car, and I can respect it because it's saying I'm just basic cheap motoring.
Do you know what it is? Aldi beans.
Aldi beans.
Yeah.
And obviously there's the Dacia EV that they're not bringing to this country.
Yeah.
Because for me, that's pressure from somewhere else. A Renault looking at that and going, don't you dare bring that over here. We'll never sell another Zoe again.
But
because they're part of the same group.
Yeah. I don't know. Part of me thinks it could be, but they're not even in direct competition in terms of...
But why would you not bring it though? I don't understand that.
Does it not meet some regulation or something?
I don't see how. It's sold in Europe, or it will be. I mean, the Citroen Ami, it might come over here, but it's not. The Opel, as it's called, or Vauxhall over here, they're bringing their own version of that.
Yeah.
Not here, though.
Is it...
Why?
Is it because we've left Europe? No, we've got different car rules, have we? We've not got different crash test rules.
Nope.
If anything, though, in our government, they'd let anything in at the moment.
But no, there's no rules. Why the Dacia Spring, I think it's called. Why not bring it here? Everyone is saying, I would buy one immediately.
Right and drive.
I can't see it myself.
Is it being touted in Australia and Japan?
I couldn't tell you. Probably
We'll have
not.
to find out.
Probably not.
I'm going to have to take a toilet break.
Oh, what's another edit point? For God's sake. Good we?
Yeah, do you know it was one of those ones where
I thought you were getting excited on your chair with the podcast.
I was as well. It was relieving.
Okay.
Do you know one of the ones where you go,
When you're on a motorway.
when you're on the motorway and you get to services and that services is shut. You have to go to the next one.
No, so the Dacia Spring, effectively, we've just done a bit of Googling, and effectively, it does look like it's the right-hand drive conversion. They're going, well, is the economics going to make sense?
I guess you have to retool, don't they?
€13,000 starting.
Even if that's £13,000.
Even if it only does 80 miles.
Well, that's
44 brake horsepower, that's enough to get around town.
It's going to feel nippy enough in up to 30 mile an hour.
Yeah, I don't care if it only does 70 mile an hour or whatever.
I think most new cars when I was young were around 50 brake. And,
Yeah, that's true. My first one was 49.
Well, there you go.
And although it'll weigh a bit more, instant torque and etc.
Yeah.
Either way, I don't see why the big.
How can they build a car for technically what's more or less half of
Chinese,
what everybody else is doing?
It's a Chinese car that they brought up.
Yeah, but still, it's
not their own.
Is stuff just that much cheaper in China? Or is it for labour if it's cheaper? What makes it half the price of something else?
I'm reading that they effectively brought something that looks suspiciously like a Tesla Model Y. Yet it's considerably cheaper, just slightly more on the range, basically the same size.
Wow.
But China have been producing electric vehicles for a lot longer than people seem to think. Most of their fleet in terms of buses and that, I think, is electric. Geely, who own Volvo / Polestar.
Yeah.
Lotus as well.
Mm-hmm.
They make way more electric vehicles than most manufacturers. So I think it's just maybe a bit of the Chinese sort of cheapness as well as just volume.
I think a trip to China at some point to have a look at all these wonderful electric vehicles. If anybody would like to sponsor that video.
If only I knew somebody that had a link to China. But yeah, I think
if only.
I think for me that's a no-brainer. That will sell.
Well, yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's another Dacia Sandero. That sells.
Yeah. No, it's
because it's the cheapest.
It's what I think the UK is crying out for at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that, I mean, a lot of people go, oh no, but it's only 44 brake, or I don't like it because it's a bit basic inside. But I think a lot of people are going to go. I'll tell you what, a lot of older people, retired people, will go. It's electric. I want to save the planet. I'll get one of them.
And
it's cheap.
And I bet the per ton performance isn't that far behind. Things like the 208 and that.
Yeah.
So they've got a bit more power. I don't know, I can't remember how much they've got. But they weigh a bit more.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
It's not about that, is it, with something like that? It's it's an A to B car, isn't it? Not
like the Sandero.
Yeah, it's not about getting you there as fast as you can or as much comfort as you can. It's about getting you there.
It's Dacia's thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Dacia have become, for me...
Skoda.
Yeah, Skoda of 1999.
Yeah. So in 15, 20 years' time, we'll look forward to the Dacia £70,000 Mercedes. Yeah. Equivalent.
Yeah. With Napa leather.
Yeah.
Carbon fibre this.
I don't want to use the phrase I'm getting tired of these Halo models. Because I'm not
getting tired of them. I just
think it's getting increasingly hard to justify electric vehicles
to people
for mass market.
Yeah.
Because you go, what have you had today? Oh, an XC40. Ooh, well, my neighbour's got one of them.
Yeah, what's that like?
It's 50 grand.
What's the first thing you say? What's that like? Well, it's quite expensive for what... It's a fantastic car, but it's quite expensive.
Just an XC40.
Yeah.
And maybe... Well, I guess that's a good argument, isn't it? That's just the same as the petrol is the same. You know, it's like the Stellantis group have done.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but they've not chosen to get the 35, do the lower end. You can get any trim level from now on. If you're going to buy that, it's top level.
Top level only, and it's going to cost you an extra 10 grand more than the petrol equivalent.
And the 50 grand's a starting price, remember?
You're going to want... Yeah, it's going to be 55, 56, 57, isn't it, probably, by the time you've put a few options on there.
Maybe it's just too easy to make a quick electric vehicle. 4.7 in an XC40 that weighs nearly 2.2 tonne.
Yeah.
It's obscenely fast for what it is.
Yeah.
And unnecessary.
Yeah, exactly. I think we discussed this, didn't we, in the Volvo video. it's almost like you've gone to buy a petrol car and you go to Audi and they go, we've just got the RS range. All right, I just want to take my nan to shops on a Saturday. Oh, a bit of boot space. I've got the RS6. No, just I don't want something that fast.
Let's get rid of all versions apart from the
RS,
the top ones.
Yeah, the stupidly quick ones.
But it's not just them, is it? There's quite a lot that are doing that terms of, I mean, they're going to do a 66 grand EV6. And I'm not saying it's not going to be worth it and the performance is meant to be extraordinary.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, as snobbish as this sounds, it's still a Kia.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, well, hang on a minute, £66,000 Kia?
Yeah. They're trying to, I know they're trying to, like say, elevate themselves in the market, but 60 grand.
Do you find yourself getting used to all these? Because we've been reviewing these cars for so long now, it's a case of, right, so what we got here then? Right, another electric vehicle starts at 35. 35, all right, okay, yeah, 35.
Yeah.
35 grand?
Yeah, we first started doing that, going and go, 35 grand for this? 35 grand for this?
No, it's just not.
Wow. Yeah, again, you go, oh, it's under 50. Bargain this, we'll have two.
So I guess some of it is just things have gone more expensive.
Do you know what I need? I need a palate cleanser.
We need to get the up back, don't we? Or the Citigo equivalent.
It's like when you're eating out and you're at a posh place and you look at the menu, you don't really know what any of it is, and it arrives at your table, and they bring you the melon in between courses.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the best bit.
Or the what is it?
Sorbet.
There we go.
Yeah, and sometimes that's the best bit. And I think maybe we've been spoiled a bit with a lot of electric vehicles recently, but I feel like I need the palate cleanser just to refresh me and go, yeah, let's get an up. Let's have a see what that's like.
When we got in the Citigo, it's like we got in it, didn't we? And instantly went, this is brilliant.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm driving the car now, as opposed to the car driving me.
Oh, yeah, none of the silly.
Yeah, the steering's so easy and the suspension, it's like there's nothing there. You can feel the road. Yeah. It's got a key that goes in an ignition barrel.
You turn the barrel. It's got dials.
Basic. Yeah, dials. I remember then.
It had the external colour on the inside, on the bare metal doors. It was perfect.
It was exactly what it said on the tin.
Yeah.
And I really, I would still consider replacing, if we went full electric and got rid of the Mini, that'd be one on the list to test. Partly because of the price, partly because it's just fun.
I think on a daily basis, you'd have more fun in that than a Tesla.
Well, yeah.
I think you'd have more fun, because the thing is, you could have fun in that car without breaking the law. Not that you break a law in a Tesla, of course. But you could go around the corner really fast, or would feel like you're going really fast in the up.
And it wasn't slow though, was it?
It wasn't slow, no, but it
wasn't as quick as the GTI.
It wasn't dangerously quick though, was it?
No. I guess that's why people buy the MX-5 as a convertible, because it's not fast, but everyone who owns one says the same thing, don't they?
I guess it's because it's that thing, isn't it, where you're just flooring it everywhere if you're having a bit of fun, and you're not going above the speed limits, but you have to really floor it to get the most out of it.
Yeah, so you feel like you've achieved something.
Yeah, it's rewarding.
Well, yeah. Well, maybe that's it. Maybe most of the cars now are so cosseting.
There's no reward.
There's no reward there. And it's not just the lack of gears, because the Citigo up proved that.
Well, that's what we said about the XC... Was it XC60? No, the XC60. The Volvo.
Oh, the V60.
V60, sorry, yeah.
The FEV.
Yeah. If you went fast in that, there was absolutely no reward of any kind for going fast.
It hid the speed so well
through
reward. Comfort.
Yeah, no reward.
No.
So then there was no point.
Yeah.
It sort of defeated the object of it being a quick car.
Anyone that's not, I'll use this phrase again, into their cars. We view cars as a real big interest, and a lot of people out there do. Some people just view it as a tool.
Yeah, I'd say it's been a passion of mine since I was 3 or 4.
Yeah, and sometimes you want a car as a tool, and sometimes you want it as a bit of fun.
Yeah.
I just think most of the EVs coming out at the moment are on the safe, cosity.
Yeah.
They're just...
Well, a lot of them don't even tick. I don't mind if a car plays it safe, and you're looking at what it needs. It's a family car. It has to do this, and this. Like the Skodas. Not particularly exciting, but it's a family car. It doesn't have to be exciting. It ticks for boxes, so to speak.
And they're trying to do everything. So Volvo have gone, right, this is our only electric vehicle for a while, because the
Swiss Army knife.
Well, it is, isn't it? Because it's a family car.
Yep.
It's electric.
Yep.
All-wheel drive. Very fast in the straight line, at least.
Yep.
it's almost like a crossover that everyone's bringing. Yeah, basically, we've only got one electric vehicle. We need to appeal to everyone.
Let's make it do everything.
Yeah. They're forgetting about, just give it a...
How much is it going to be? It's 50 grand. How much? 50 grand. 50 grand.
I think everyone will have that reaction. But I think with the Citigo had only one purpose.
Yeah.
It's a town car.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a town car.
Like the Honda E.
Yeah.
It's a town car. That's all Honda have ever said it's going to be.
And it did it
brilliant
perfectly.
Car. Yeah. If you want a long motorway cruiser, you bought the wrong car.
No, you got the wrong car.
But now everything is trying to... Well, I'm sick of crossovers.
It's the same with when you're going for petrol and diesel, isn't it? You wouldn't just get a petrol car and go, well, I know what, I'll get the one that's got 300 or 400 brake in it just because I go to the shops. So you buy it according to what you want, don't you?
Yeah, and if some people buy an M3 to go to the shops, that's because they're probably interested in cars.
Yeah.
Or they just want to show off and they can afford it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't get people who... look at him in his car trying to show off.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but...
That's his passion.
What's wrong with being car proud?
Yeah.
How many people, cut the gardens outside their house because they want the house to look nice? Oh, look at him cutting his garden. What's he showing off? Yeah. It's just what you're interested in.
Buying posh clothes.
And I think there's... Yeah. Well, it's crossovers in general, aren't they?
I think
everything's a crossover.
There's a crossover ruined cars.
Because they're trying to get everything to do one thing.
It just dilutes everything. It's like, when you mix colours.
Bit of everything.
You just mix them all together and it's just a mess.
Yeah.
That's a crossover,
Brown sludge.
Yeah. Let's start again.
Sometimes, that food's a starter, that food's a main.
Yeah.
Let's not just try and create, let's get rid of the 3 courses and just have one big one that does everything.
Protein shake.
Pretty much. I mean, that's it. If the Citigo's brilliant because it said, I'm this, and it was really good at this.
Yeah.
It's like the Honda E, like the Mini.
Yep.
And various other cars. Yeah. And I don't mind.
No, the
fast
MGs.
EVs. The Taycan.
Yeah, Taycan, yeah. Fantastic. That's probably one of the most fun car.
Yeah. I'm a sports car, and that's what you get.
Yep.
But then you get stuff like all these crossovers and that, and it's like, and you read the brochure, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, I'm good in the town and urban environment, but I'm also great on the open road.
Yeah. I don't really know about that.
There's very few cars that could pull that one off, and even then, there's always a compromise.
There is always a compromise, yeah.
It's
like I've got an MX-5, but what I've done is I've put 4 seats in it. I've done what?
Or I've got an SUV and turned it into a coupe. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah, BMW do that quite a bit, don't they?
X6.
Yeah.
And lots of X's.
Yeah, I was going to buy an X5, but I think I'm just too big a knobhead to buy that. I've got an X6. I'll have that, yeah.
But can you, it's well they've done with the Audi e-tron, if we're staying electric for a second.
Yeah.
The Audi e-tron, I'm not into this SUV-ness. What if we give you exactly the same car from the middle to the front, but the back would just make it slope down a bit, make it more coupe-ish? Yeah. Wow.
Could you make it less practical? But I want to pay slightly more for it.
That's the Sportback e-tron.
I think, yeah, we can do that, yeah. Do you want adults to sit in the back? Well, I want them to be uncomfortable if they do.
Yeah, it's still an SUV.
Yeah.
But I don't get all that. For me,
who's buying? Someone's buying that and go, do you know what? I bought a sports car.
Oh, because it's got the word sport back in.
Yeah.
Everything is a sport. I mean, even what is it? BMW, the Sport is practically entry level in terms of trim. Is it?
Yeah. You got Sport, and then you've got M Sport.
Not M Sport. The Sport. It's just pretty basic.
Sport is like what we would have, where people will go and put some bits of fiberglass on the car and then have it sprayed to suit the car. That's Sport. So it won't change your suspension or your brakes. And then M Sport is, I think, it's modified suspension.
But either way, they've got a base model for me called Sport.
Yeah.
In fact, don't Ford do that? I'm sure someone else said Sport is like the entry level. What?
Yeah. At what time did Sport become an entry level? LX surely was the entry level trim.
Or even L.
L, yeah.
Yeah, because, excuse you, I had a Ford Fiesta 1.1 LX and that wasn't the base model, damn it.
No.
I loved that. That was what I called my first proper car because I only had the Metro for 3 months before some idiot nicked it.
So good that somebody else wanted it.
Well, yeah, and then they decided, this is so good at handling, I'm going to drive it around really fast on this rugby pitch. And then he wanted to get in the boot so much to see how big it was.
Yeah.
But he didn't have the key. So he reversed it into a tree.
Wouldn't they have automatic release on the
Metro. that didn't have
I bet the
central
seats
locking.
didn't even come down, did they? They mustn't have done it if we're trying to reverse it in. Or maybe I hadn't thought of that.
I don't know. But to be fair, he was trying to get the speakers out of the parcel shelf. Because, that's what you do with an
Probably
old
worth
car.
more than the car.
It probably was, yes. And then when I had the Fiesta, one of the first things I did.
Alloys.
No.
Before that.
Put the stereo
Crashing.
in. Put a stereo in with speakers in the back.
Yeah.
Well, this time I thought, I'm going to fool them. I got a stealth shelf.
Stealth shelf, yeah. Everyone remembers them.
Because you couldn't spot them
You
from the
couldn't-
outside at all,
Couldn't
could
tell
you?
there was some NDF with some hidden speakers underneath it.
That got broke into twice. Nicked the stereo because Sony told me it wouldn't be worth stealing because of a code. So they replaced it for free. So it's part of the deal of buying it. You buy, if someone steals this, we'll replace it for free.
Well, that seems like a good deal.
And I got an upgrade because then I got the same one because they clearly realised
Yeah,
that
yeah.
people could actually
actually
get around
nick
the
it.
code. And it was a face-off.
Ah.
And it wouldn't work without that specific
you have to check
face-off
that,
thing.
yeah.
Unless you know someone that could reprogram them, then
And then
it
it
could.
would do.
Yeah.
Unless you knew a guy.
So as long as you still had the front, which I
It'd
always
still
had,
give
you had a little case, and then you took
Oh,
it off,
yeah,
put it
yeah,
in
put the
clipped
case.
it in the case. Took
That's
it
before you had a big mobile phone to carry around. You carry around your stereo.
Yep. So
Or what you do, as I do, is you take the face off, put it in that cover, and then put it in your glove box.
do you know when they broke into the Fiesta for the second time, they took the stereo without the face. It was useless to them, I'm pretty sure of that. And they got into the glove box, which, well, it wasn't a lockable one anyway. And they also took, do you know what they also took? Two things. One,
Duran CD.
No. Better than that. My big wallet. Do you know with the like 12 CDs?
Of your backed up CD collection.
Or with my back, yeah, that wasn't downloaded via MP3 and created CD. Took that and the only proper CD I had in there in its case, the David Gray album.
Okay.
Well, that was for when I was picking up the ladies.
Yeah.
Incidentally, that's the. In fact, no, I met Lorna in the Metro.
Did you?
Not in the Metro, but that's what I was driving at the time.
A car park at night, was it?
I did take her up to Castle Hill in Huddersfield.
Hey-o.
But the
Make out point.
let's go up there because it's really pretty. Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? Arm goes over seat.
Yeah.
But
Not cold, are you?
No, that was that. Yeah, God, memories. You know what? I bet people don't even do that now.
No.
So we'll go for a drive. Where we're going? McDonald's.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway,
Getting back on track again.
so effectively,
We're
to
saying-
summarise,
Cheaper cars.
can we stop concentrating on the premium Halo, stick every option in it models?
I'll do them as well.
Well, I
We'll
guess
just concentrate,
Yeah.
you know, a bit of money and a bit of investment on more attainable cars for the mass market.
And don't start at the top
No,
spec.
yeah, I've
always at
trimmed
the top.
levels. I think Kia with the Nero have got this perfect.
And again, all the Stellantis Group ones. You want the
Yeah.
base spec 208 in electric form, or do you want a
Yeah.
throughout? You could literally. It was like choosing petrol or diesel.
Yeah, which is for me is how it should be.
Yeah, there's a you're going to pay a bit more for electric at the moment, but that won't be forever.
No, but you should be able to say, actually, I don't need this. You know, the top trim level. I'm happy with just this.
Well, for me. It's a double increase because it's like it's going to cost you another $5,000 for the electric version compared to petrol. But because we don't do the base model in electric version, it's going to cost you another $2,000 or $3,000 because you've got to get the top spec version. So all of a sudden, the gulf between the base petrol
massive, yeah.
and the cheapest electric is huge.
Do you think they're trying to subsidise the cost of them making it electric by putting all the options on, which to them won't cost? And you look at the options list and you're going, there's no way that costs that much.
I keep on thinking that, but then I go, hang on a minute, no, because Vauxhall, Peugeot, DS, and all the others that we've mentioned don't do that.
No, but I wonder if they've got, you know, the accountant is going, no, put everything on, because all your options when they're on will cost you, I don't know, $2,500 to put on, but it's $5,000 worth of options on your list price, so it looks like you're getting a better deal than you actually are.
Well, most people that bought, I know that I spoke to someone who worked for Renault, and he said most people who buy the Zoe got the GT one.
Yeah.
But they were the ones that were most discounted.
Well, I guess that, yeah.
So it's like, well, I could spend another £1,000 because it's on offer and go up 2 trim levels.
Yeah.
But either way, we're not going to get to this mass market thing unless we have some entry-level ones.
Yeah, and I think they need to incentivise it as well with the, a year's free insurance to young people or something like that. There needs to be...
That's not a bad idea.
There needs to be something. If it was available to people under 25, I don't care. My insurance for me now is, what? I've got one car is £220 and the other car's £320. I don't care. I'll happily buy a new car and my insurance isn't going to be very much.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make a difference.
For somebody who's 25, if we can help them get into driving, especially an EV, then why don't...
They will grow up. Electric's normal.
Yeah, exactly. First generation to electric. I think there needs to be some incentive there for younger people.
They're pricing people out, and I don't mean the electric edition because, like the 208 is more cheaper than the electric 208. I mean, I don't know.
The first thing you hear from people when you talk about electric cars is...
Can't afford it.
Oh, they're expensive, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen you on YouTube. What do you do? Oh, I do electric cars. Oh, they're expensive, aren't they?
And it's harder to say, well, actually, no, you got that quite wrong.
You go, well...
Because every car that's coming out starts at 40 at the moment.
There are some cheap ones. How much are them? Oh, about 25.
Well, yeah. I mean, the MG ones, for me, are on their own.
Yeah.
A reasonably decent size estate car that now comes in a long-range version, so it probably will do 200 miles or very close in the real world.
It's going to get in the facelift soon, isn't it, as well?
I imagine within 12 months, yes.
So that's going to look a very different car as well.
Bigger battery version, the ZS SUV version. And I know some people won't like that. I was like, well, it's got 7-year warranty on it. What's
not to like about it, though? Well, I see, we sat in one fully charged, and it's like, yeah.
It's what I remember it as.
Yeah, this is a really nice car.
But it's not just a bit cheaper, is it?
Well, you get 2 of them for one Volvo.
Yeah. And the Volvo's a way better car, but not
2
double.
Not 2 MGs.
Nah. Not 25 grand more expensive.
If you didn't tell people how much they were, and you didn't have the badges on, and you had 2 MGs there and one Volvo there, and you went, right, which one do you think's the most expensive? Them 2 or that one?
Yeah. Before anybody mentions the badge or the Chinese
take the badge off, take all that off, yeah.
Ironically, the Volvo is also a Chinese car.
Yeah.
And you can get a 25 grand XC40. So it keeps coming back to that.
Yeah.
It's not the fact... If that was an XC60 at 50 grand, I think it's more justified.
Yeah.
Because
it's a massive, big car.
But it's the fact that they've chosen that platform, which... And the Polestar's the same price, but that can get away with it.
Because it's a Polestar.
It's a Polestar. It's a premium brand.
It's like the AMG of the Mercedes line, isn't it?
So it's like Volvo have gone, right, let's do our version, guys. Well, it's going to cost us the same to make it.
Yeah.
Right, so let's pitch it against the Polestar then?
The only ace up its sleeve is it's more practical. But it's, like you said, it's not. It's for ceiling price, isn't it?
But then I'd spend 10 grand less and get an ID or an Enyaq or a Mustang Mach-E.
No. It's a car that I do like, the XC5, but I wouldn't buy it with my own money.
No. I'd tick it as a company car.
Yeah. I think it'd be fun to own for 3 months, and then you go, I've got bored of launching off the traffic lights. Yeah.
I mean, it feels like we're picking on the Volvo a bit, It's just
because we've just
happened to have had it. Yeah, had it. And
effectively, that's where this podcast idea sort of came from.
The Ioniq 5, not the greatest example because they're going to do a cheaper version, but it's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
If you want that, it's the big expensive. The EV6, expensive.
Look at Kia's lineup of all the cars that they do. They start with really cheap cars.
Yeah.
Why not electrify some of them?
Yeah. Just like
why don't they do an alternative? Yeah.
Like the Up. You don't have to have a big range. You don't have to be 200-mile range or anything.
Do you know what? We need to get a podcast and we need to speak to somebody, one of these manufacturers, and just get them to explain the economics with this.
I know what they'll do. The Stellantis group will say what they said at that event and said, we've decided to do this, go on full on it, and it's worked. And then the other guy will go, the economics don't work out.
Don't make sense
to do that yet. Yeah. So we've gone for the low volume, high price.
And then you go,
well, he's done that. He's saying the opposite to you. They're going to defend their own position.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
But it would be interesting to get maybe if there's an industry specialist or whatever in this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be forever, isn't it? But every time we get it, all right, we've got another press car coming. Oh, where is it? Yeah, it's another 40, 50, 60,000 pound car, which is going to be increasingly difficult to get on the channel and go, oh, guess what we've got today?
Yeah, we've got another really expensive Well, that is it. It's all relative, isn't it? It might not be expensive for some people,
No,
but
but
it's certainly not an entry-level vehicle.
when you know that there are 25 grand cars out there, not just MG ones.
Yeah. That
You
can
think,
that can do a good job.
Why
of being
doesn't
an EV.
everyone have a 25 grand car? Or even 20 if you look at the ups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
I think we need to get the up on.
might ask Volkswagen, see if we can get it back and do another little...
We could do a challengey sort of something in it.
Yeah, maybe. Well, let us know if you're listening to this podcast. The trouble with
You're
podcasts
one of
is,
the 5 people that listen to this podcast. Have you turned off by now?
well, I think that's the trouble in it. The trouble with podcasts is there's no comment section.
No.
So it's very
Email.
difficult. Well, yeah, you could email,
Want to go to the website?
or you could go to the YouTube channel and do it through there.
Yep.
So ev-man.co.uk. If you're listening to this, you probably know about the website at the moment. And in fact, if you are listening to this and you've found the podcast, but you've never heard of the channel before, I'd be interested to know if there's anybody actually found this. Because I did have a brief look a couple of weeks ago, granted, and we had a few viewers in South Korea.
Well, I think we're
Listeners, not viewers.
viewers here. We're as big as K-pop, aren't we? In South Korea.
It was the important people in South Korea.
Yeah.
Those 2 or 3. But yeah, the lack of feedback is what I dislike about podcasts.
Yeah.
It has to be kind of someone has to go out of the way to send you something. So yeah, please do. And we do have reviews. I don't know if you noticed. I'll show you after we finish this podcast.
We have reviews.
We have reviews on Apple's podcast.
Really?
We have.
Take them down.
Hopefully the audio will be better than the first one. It was a little bit echoey, but we've sorted that out, I believe. So that should be all right. And if you are, or you have a topic that you'd like us to...
Or you'd like to appear on here. Maybe you're involved in the industry or...
Well, yeah, look at the price list.
Yeah.
No, I'm more than happy with that. I prefer to do it in person than
via
like a Zoom call because the audio's terrible.
I always start taking my clothes off and stuff as well.
Not that webcam, Harry. So yeah, I think it'd be nice to get some topics that people want us to talk about as well, because we tend to just put in a podcast what's just in our minds. You know, it's like, you know, you got up and what do you talk about? Oh, let's record this and
yeah, it'd be nice to have a bit of a more heads. Make a better conversation, don't it? If you've got something you want us to talk about or investigate a little bit.
We research it a bit.
Yeah.
And then go through that. So yeah, that's it.
We can watch a few YouTube videos and then give our opinion on it.
Right, what does Johnny Smith think? What does he think?
What does Johnny Smith think?
What does what car think? Right, that's all is down. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you very much.
Know what you think in terms of the price of EVs, but I don't mean they are more expensive in general. We're talking about just the high-end stuff coming out now. Or anything else.
Yeah.
So, right, okay. I guess we'll see you soon. And of course, as is now the tradition, Lorna's...
Well, she give the word.
She gave the last word of the last one. She chose Fizz.
Did she? Well, this one's going to be quite poignant from today. I'm going to choose Squirrel.